Hey everybody, Outdoors with Unc. We're on the beach. It's me and my sidekick, and it is an absolute gorgeous day right around sunset, as you can see. And today we're going to be talking about how to dig razor clams. I got my clam gun, I got my thumper. Let's head out and see what we can do. Alright, so we're out here at the water's edge. And you can see it's some pretty high surf today. Now what we're going to do is just look for little dimples in the sand. Sometimes it looks just like a little hole. Sometimes it looks like a little mini volcano. But we're just kind of out here searching. We're pretty early yet. So we're just going to kind of keep looking. There's a little tiny dimple right here. Yeah, see how when I stomped him? Right there. That's what you're looking for. That's a clam. Okay, so there's our clam that we just stomped out. It just looks like a tiny divot in the sand. And what you're going to want to do is place your gun over the top of it at a little bit of an angle and just wiggle it back and forth. Really need to hire a cameraman. If you're in Ocean Park and you want to be a cameraman, hit me up. A lot of times you're battling the waves. But a lot of times you can do it two-handed. There you can see my clam right there. Got a little smushed up. The Washington State law says you got to keep what you dig. So into the bag he goes. To avoid crunching them like that, you just need to dig at a better angle. There's a good chance where you find one, you're going to find more. Alright, so we've been out here about an hour. Got our limit. Some days it takes 20 minutes, sometimes it takes a lot longer. Absolutely beautiful dig. Zero shows, but if you stomped them out, you could find them. If you don't have a thumper, stomp with your feet. Well, now that you guys know how to do it, you got the gear, you know how to do it, let's head back to the house. I'll show you how to get them cleaned up. All right, we're off the beach and into the kitchen. I know this is called Outdoors with Unc, but sometimes you got to go inside if you're going to eat these ocean foods. We got our razor clams here, fresh dug, and before we get them cleaned, we got to give them a bath. You know, maybe a little bit of romance them. They like a bubble bath, probably around 275 degrees. So, you know, you just take them, you get a bath, you get a bath. This guy, he gets a bath. So what you're going to do is just dump them all into a large pot. And it doesn't take long. Chances are you're going to cook them twice. You're going to just kind of boil them, get them off the shell, and as soon as that shell starts opening up, they're ready to be cleaned. You don't want to overcook them because they get real rubbery, real tough. So, I mean, 2 or 3 minutes of this, we'll pull them off and we'll clean them up. So after a few minutes, they will be falling off the shells. And then what I like to do is just kind of give them a bath. I'll dump them out into the sink. After a nice hot sauna, it's always nice to have a polar plunge. So I got some ice in the sink. We'll run them underneath the cold water. And what this does is not only cools them down so you can cut them open and clean them, but I think it helps when they rapidly cool to keep the clams tender. If you just leave them in the hot water, they continue to cook. I like to cool them off as fast as I can, and they just fall off the shells. And if you're wondering what a romance or what a razor clam looks like after all of this romance, this is it. This is how you get them naked. Once they're naked, you can cut them open, see the insides. I'm going to let these cool down for a few minutes, and then I'll be right back with you guys. All right, to get started, what you're going to need is a good pair of scissors. These definitely aren't my wife's scissors, and we have never had an argument about using these scissors to clean clams. But I don't think she's subscribed to my channel, so that's all right. What I do is I typically start by removing the neck, and then you're going to see two little holes on the top. What you're going to want to do, slide into that first top hole and just kind of follow that ridge line, opening it up like so. There's another hole, so what you're going to want to do is follow that other hole. So now you kind of got it open like so. Now everybody does this part differently, but what I like to do is just come out, cut the lungs out, and there's a little gut sac there. Now this part is called the sucker. Up here is the lungs and this gut sac. You don't want to eat the gut sac, and you don't want to eat the lungs. But what you can do is save them, and I'll put those in a Ziploc bag, and I call them clam guts. And when you're out perch fishing, you can chum the water, and it really helps draw the fish in. Same thing with your clam neck. You don't want to eat these. It's like eating a shoe. Like, I mean, if you're hungry, sure. But what I'll do is I'll take those and use them for bait later on down the road. And I'll just put those in a separate bag. So that kind of leaves you with two pieces. You got the sucker. Now some people, you're going to have to rinse out. You can see there's a lot of, we'll say clam waste in there, or guts. And you're going to want to clean all that out. I typically just rinse it out in the sink. And these parts are edible, but the texture is just very unappealing to me. So for me, this is the part that I like. A lot of people clean these in one solid piece, but I don't eat the suckers. I honestly give them to a friend. If you're watching this, you know who you are. Come get your bag of suckers next time you're out at the coast. But these are super simple, so we're going to go ahead and get them cleaned up, and then I'll show you one of my favorite ways to enjoy them. So this is our finished product. This is kind of what you're going to want to go to. I already put some of these in the bags, just leaving out what we're going to use tonight. As you can see, it's filleted out nicely, and this is kind of what you got. I know a lot of people do this in one piece, leaving the suckers on, but that sucker is a completely different texture, and I do not like it. What I'm doing now is kind of just patting them dry. I'm just taking a paper towel, and I have a towel underneath, and I'm just trying to get some of that moisture out, because if you don't, when you put them in the bag, you got a slimy mess. So I like to dry them out a little bit just using a paper towel. Make sure you rinse them off really well. I can still see some sand there, and that'll totally turn off the flavor and ruin it for you. So I'm going to give these another rinse, probably pat them dry, and if you got to go over them 2 or 3 times, a little bit of prep work makes for a lot better of a product. There's no point in murdering something if you don't want to eat it. Alright, so we're all cleaned, and what I'll typically do is take a Ziploc bag, put my seasonings in here. Today we got crushed French onion, crispy. That's going to kind of act as my breading. And then we got the truffle parmesan black garlic. So what I'll do is I'll take a couple of these, throw them in the egg wash. And this is the key. You don't want to put them all in the bag at one time. If you put them all in the bag at once, then they don't get evenly coated. So you're just going to drop one at a time. Give that bag a good shake. And then you get a nice even coat. And then straight into your oil. That oil's a little bit hot, but it's already smelling good. These don't take too long. They're not very thick. It's not like a fish fillet. So you kind of want to move quick. Get them in the pan. And they'll start browning up right away. That garlic smells really good. I wish you guys had smell-o-vision. But I mean, this really doesn't take long at all. Just a few minutes. And that's being exaggerating. You don't want to overcook them. Not to beat a dead horse, but if you overcook them, then they turn into shoe leather, and they're not that great. So what I'm going to do is grab a paper towel. And get ready to start pulling some of these guys off. So that's kind of what you're going for. It almost looks like an onion ring. I'm going to finish frying these up, and we'll do a taste test in a minute. First impression is pretty good. I can really taste the garlic. You got to be careful when you're cooking these because they're going to absorb the flavor a ton. A little bit of seasoning goes a long ways. This batch came out a little salty. And I didn't even add salt, so I don't know where that flavor is coming from. But I taste a little bit of the garlic, a lot of Parmesan. You know, the great thing about this is you can play with it. You can find a recipe that works for you and just kind of fine tweak it. You know, this definitely isn't my favorite type of clam to eat. A lot of times they can end up really rubbery and there is a lot of prep work compared to like a steamer clam. But these are super easy to get, and the limit here in Washington is 15 per person. So if you got some of those little kids running around, their limit's 15 for each one of you. A clam license is like $11 for the year. If you want to get like a 1-day permit, I think it's like $7-8 or something. It's not really expensive. So if you're looking for an affordable way to feed your family, I mean, these digs happen for like 4 or 5 days in a row. And if you're getting 15 clams per person and you got 4 kids, do the math. It doesn't take very long to fill your freezer. And it's a great way to feed your family if you're on a budget. And there's, like I said, there's lots of different recipes you can do. You can, like I said earlier, you can make clam balls. You can even do clam burgers. I haven't perfected the clam burger yet. It sucks compared to beef. But just fried up like this, not bad. It's like calamari. You know, it's a little bit chewy, but it's also a little bit crispy. So like, think ocean bacon. It's pretty good. And a few of these clams, and you're gonna be full. So I think it's a great fun way to feed the fam, get outdoors. It's good for your soul. This has been Outdoors with Unc, reminding you to go outside. It is absolutely good for your soul.